everybody. Welcome back to Coffee Connections, Insights with Innovators. My name is Seth Weiner, and I am your auctioneer. It's a pleasure to see you all. Well, I can't really see you, but it's a pleasure to be seen by you. This has been a fun week. Of course, we've got the Sneakin' Sally through Atlanta's alley, but it's not so bad here, although some have stories of trees and debris, but we're not going to go there. We're going to get our coffee out and have a little coffee chat, huh? Thanks again for everyone that's been following us and subscribing to our YouTube channel. Thank you very much for doing that. And if you haven't done so, please do so now, right there. Or is it there? Is it there? Somewhere around there. Please subscribe. We've got a lot of guests coming up because remember, all of our guests get to choose our next guest. So this thing is rolling. The weather is changing, and it feels great to walk outside and have a little cool weather. I know my son, who is doing outdoor schooling at Waldorf, is really appreciating the cool weather as well. All right, well, let's jump into it. What do you say? Ladies and gentlemen, today our guests are with Illuminate Atlanta. Illuminate Atlanta. We have Sara Keith, the founder and president. Sara's the director and owner of the Atlanta School of Photography. She has a deep passion for education and photography and hopes to share with all of the Metro Atlanta. Her personal mission is to get a camera in every Georgian's hand. Now, that's not just a person named Georgia, of course, right? Sara graduated from SCAD and is with a minor in film and television and is super excited to be here and share with you all. And then, of course, we've got Kahiah Polidore, who's the programming coordinator. Her talents are in photography, social media, and smiling. Of course, she has her outreach flourishing in the nonprofit environment as at Illuminate. Kahiah is on the staff of the Atlanta School of Photography, is also a SCAD graduate, and has worked for other nonprofit photography organizations in the past, such as Houston Center for Photography. So, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the broadcast, Illuminate Atlanta.
Hi. Hello.
Hi.
Thanks so much for having us. We're so excited to be here.
Yeah, well, it's exciting to have you both here as well. It's coffee talk, so let's talk coffee. It does, and do either of you? Oh, you have a mug.
I do.
You know, I was going to ask that. I guess. Tell me, any story behind that mug?
None other than I just really needed a mug to be able to contain the immense amount of coffee that I drink during the day. That guy, I think, can attest to. Just one where it was like, "This is Sarah's. This is her happy place, and this is what she needs to function throughout the day." Yeah.
Now, Kahiah, do you have a mug?
I don't have it with me, but I can describe it. It's a Starbucks
Oh, yeah. No, please describe.
with holiday lights and cacti all over it. And I use it every single day, even when Christmas is not in season. It's my favorite.
All right. Well, now, Sara, I'm guessing, though, that's not your only mug in your office. You must have another mug.
I do have another mug, my Dunder Mifflin World's Best Boss mug, which I thought earlier that I lost. I was looking for it and then remembered that I no longer use it for coffee. I use it to hold my paintbrushes. So there's that.
All right. All right, let's talk coffee. Let's see. Do you like your coffee hot or iced?
Hot.
You like both? You like it hot? Okay. Dark, medium, or mild? What's our blend of preference?
I'm a medium roast gal.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Sara?
Dark or hazelnut. If you get hazelnut coffee in my cup, it's basically candy.
All right, now let's get a little more serious here. Drip or French press?
Well, I'm going to have to say drip. For me.
Drip, okay.
Yeah.
Drip as well, simply because of the laziness factor.
Very much so.
I am amazed. No one has said French press yet. I'm going to have to introduce you all to... All right, on our next episode, if you tune in, I will bring I will show you my French press and how easy it is to use. And I'm not going to sell it for the company, but... all right, well, thank you all so much for giving us your time today. I could tell... Listen, folks, they're busy. That when we did our pre-call, their phone was ringing off the hook. Sara had to move the phone out of her office because it wouldn't stop ringing. So that's a good sign. But why is the phone ringing? Sara, Kahiah, will you both please share with everyone about Illuminate Atlanta, what your mission is, what you're doing, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera?
Yeah, so we had initially started our programming when, let's see, gosh, it was all the way back in 2017. It was Allison and I, and we were on a road trip, and we were talking about all these things that we wanted to. Oh, Allison is our other co-founder. She couldn't be here today. I'm so sorry, but we were on a road trip together, and we were just constantly thinking of this idea of we really want to start a nonprofit organization around photography education, like that's so incredibly needed in our community right now. So we had been mulling over it for a couple of years, and it just so happened to be eventually that I came to acquire the Atlanta School of Photography, which used to be the Showcase School. Showcase had to unfortunately close back in early 2017, but I said I can keep the school part going. I can't do that retail end. I know nothing about that, but it was like I can keep the education part going. So once we had like an actual physical space that we could have, that was incredibly exciting. And then got introduced to Kahiah, who came onto our staff at the school and was super excited about that. So it was kind of like the three of us having these ideas of, I think that this is everything that we really want to do. And we finally have an outlet to be able to do it. And what we were finding over and over again was a lot of the places that we were just doing little volunteer work with the Atlanta School of Photography, we were already doing programming with the Boys and Girls Clubs and things like that. They were consistently saying that what we really need is equipment. Like cameras are expensive. Cameras are really, really, really expensive. And so they were like, we don't have the funding for equipment. And then even if we did, we don't have anyone to teach it. So we don't even have the instructors to be able to actually teach photography. So it's like we're lacking those two things, and that's what we really need. So once we started doing things like camera drives and inviting our students from ASOP into donating cameras to be able to use for the programming, we started to get questions from different organizations and bigger corporations saying, hey, can we donate to you? Like, and then can I get a tax write-off? And we had to go, no, I'm sorry, we're not a nonprofit. And then we kind of looked at each other and went, why aren't we a nonprofit? Like, what are we doing? So, and then that's how Illuminate Atlanta was formed. It was just from a need that we saw in the community and got started. So then from there, Kai, if you want to talk about our mission statement, I know that you had a big hand in helping to form it and everything. So yeah.
Yes, so forgive me because I do not remember things, short-term memory loss. But basically, we started off doing all of this, and we were just like, you know what, we can do this as a nonprofit. So we became a 501c3 nonprofit, and Allison came up with the name Illuminate Atlanta. And once she came up with it, we were just like, yes, that is what we're doing. It's perfect. So I'm going to read our statement because, Lord forgive me. Okay. So our mission is to increase accessibility to photographic education and the arts by providing photography, education, and opportunities to underserved communities in the metro Atlanta area. So, of course, we believe that artistic education and engagement is vital to all communities, which is why, of course, we're including Metro Atlanta because we want to reach everybody. And so we do programming, we do culminating exhibitions, we do a lot of outreach, and we're just trying to get to all the underserved communities that we can and throughout the Metro Atlanta area and virtually now. So that's our mission, and we're really excited to continue it, to keep going, and to push it as far as it can go.
Awesome. Well, that's amazing. And well, obviously before COVID, how large of an impact? How many folks were you working with?
Oh man.
I
I
mean, like it's not five people; it's like hundreds or.
I think probably at one time we were probably reaching about like 40 students at a time, somewhere around there, working with probably we'd work with like two or three different partners at a time because we're a pretty small team. We're like
Mhm.
we're hoping to expand that. That's like our next thing post COVID we're hoping to do is to engage and bring up our team a little bit more and include more folks and volunteers. But usually, yeah, I'd say like two or three programs at a time with two or three different partners. And each of those has what about anywhere between like 6 to 15
Sometimes
students.
we had 30 in one program, and then we had the one-day programs that they weren't for a continuous amount of weeks, but we maybe had 20 kids that day.
Hmm.
So we had a really good reach before COVID. I think we still definitely have it. It's just had to all go virtually. So
Right, right. Well, I mean, I would imagine though, on the turnaround, like virtually, it's probably a little more, is it more hands-on? Like you're able to do a Zoom and bring up the students' photos and like work with them a little bit more than maybe on an individual basis?
It will definitely be that way now. The only thing that we were kind of waiting on were our partners that we work with. When they started putting their programming on hold, it put ours on hold. So this
Right.
one first integrated into it. But now, definitely screen sharing with Zoom and Microsoft Teams like has really made it more
Uh,
individualized. And I think that is actually going to help us expand even more.
I think so too. So talk about your partners though. So I mean, I'm just thinking like Boys and Girls Club, or what are some of the partners you have?
Oh my goodness. So we did a few clubs with Boys and Girls Club. We've done Cool Girls. We've done the East Point Police Department summer camp. We did that I think our first year before we were officially a nonprofit. We've done Threshold Community Program, Hillside Atlanta, House of Artists Foundation, Minds in Motion summer camp. Oh my goodness, there's more, but we've had really great partners where we work with their teams and we customize for what their participants want to learn, the goals that they're trying to achieve for those programs, and we just get as customized as we can with them. But they're all really great. They all serve different communities, which helps us just get out there and connect with people. So I love our partners.
Yeah, they're all just absolutely amazing, brilliant people. And it was generally from like starting with the Boys and Girls Club and then kind of expanding out from there, where especially once we started the official nonprofit and we got our board together. Our board is mainly comprised of folks that are already engaged in the photography community in Atlanta. And they knew people that were working and said, hey, I think this would be a really great fit for so-and-so. And then other ones, I think, especially with like Cool Girls, like we were reaching out with them and saying like, how can we be a part of what you're doing? So it was this really cool kind of back and forth of us reaching out to places and then people reaching out to us and just finding this common need for photography education in the programming that they were already doing and conducting.
Mm-hmm. And what are some of the programs that you? Oh, go ahead.
Okay, I left out Hirsch Academy too.
And Hirsch, yeah.
We love Hirsch.
Yeah.
Well, they give the best kisses, right? The Hershey kisses, right? Isn't that a?
Yeah.
I mean, listen, it's not always going to be funny, but I will try. So, with photography, most all is digital now, but do you still work with the well, not green rooms? That's the black. Was it black rooms? Red rooms? What is it called?
Dark rooms.
Dark rooms. Oh, well, sorry. See, it's been that long.
I know, right? It's like, wait, what was that random thing back in the day? Yeah.
But there was such a a couple skills. One skill was patience. It taught you patience.
Absolutely.
Which I think probably kids could really use right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Instead of instant, the process of waiting and watching the image all the way, come through, and there's so much, right? So I'm curious, like, is that something that you all work with, or is it all digital?
Yeah, so it's like I guess a little bit of a mix of both. We mainly do digital, simply because it's the most accessible that we have right now, and a lot of the kids are even using their phones. We realized because that was like the first camera that they were ever introduced to. So yeah, and this was like just a world that they already knew and understood. So when we started the programming, we didn't want to fight with them to teach them something that they were already like not familiar or uncomfortable with.
Right.
And we wanted to come at it from a place of understanding. I think we tried that at first. We tried to teach it the same way that we teach the adults at Atlanta School of Photography. And we were like, no way, nightmare scenario. Like I know Kahiah can remember like back in the day, we got back together and was just like, how do we fix this? How do we change this? Yeah. So yeah.
That's when we had to get personalized. That's definitely when that started, because we were like, oh yeah, they're not adults.
They just want to take pictures. They just want to take them, and then they just want to keep taking it. So it wasn't this process of here's a shutter speed, here's an aperture, here's an ISO, and going down the line of it this way. Let me fully comprehend this machine I am using. They were just like, no, where's the button? How can I start taking pictures? And it was like, oh, okay, let's do that. So, but eventually the other thing that we started realizing was with a lot of the kids that we're working with, they're born like after the year 2000, which is like insane to think about. And they had never seen their pictures like physical, like in a print form, which was nuts. Like, because we were so used to that growing up, where it's like you go to CVS and you get the prints and all that kind of stuff, but they had never seen that before in their lives. So we got like a portable printer, a little Canon portable printer that we could bring along with us. It runs on batteries. And then we started doing things like cyanotypes, which are basically like sun prints. You put a chemical over it and you create a sun print and you put stuff on top of it. But it was especially really impactful for our students at like Threshold and Hirsch, who are on the spectrum, who relay a lot better to things that are tangible. That was a game changer for them. But for any kid to see their picture as like a physical manifestation was really cool. So I think there's like a balance between the two a little bit. And even us, we're still trying to figure that out 3 years into it.
Well, now talk more about working with folks on the spectrum and whatnot. That it seems like that's a big part of what you're doing.
Yeah. They're awesome.
They definitely are. And I remember this quote that I was told. It was, every kid that you meet on the spectrum is not the same kid. And that is a very, very true statement, because they respond to many different factors. You know, some of them, they love taking the pictures, some just love seeing the friends, you know, and it's such a beautiful thing to work with anyone who's on the spectrum. But I have a little brother who's on the spectrum, and to see how their mind can create things, to see how they can express themselves through a tool that, you know, we pick up every day and we use, and we're not necessarily thinking about it too much. I think that's been one of the beauties of doing Illuminate Atlanta and doing this outreach through organizations that have youth and young adults on the spectrum, is just being able to explore and get creative and like the true form of expression. It's been beautiful.
And with our program with Threshold Community, we've been also engaging in like early career adaptation, like the teaching and students' careers. We've been doing that with them in the Boys and Girls Club, but specifically with Threshold, we were able to go in and do training with Photoshop, because a lot of the students were like, maybe I don't want to take pictures, but I want to just like create stuff in Photoshop. So I went in to go teach the Photoshop class, and I had this whole curriculum like already built out that I had usually taught in the same way that I teach it here at the school. And we blasted through the material. Like, I think that people don't often remember like how incredibly brilliant like students on the spectrum are, to where they were just like, yeah, no, I got it. Cool. What's next? Like, they keep wanting to know what's the next thing? What's the next thing? And then eventually they go, okay, yeah, so how do I Photoshop my friend riding a giant bee flying away? And I was just like, yeah, let's do that. That's fun. That's great. I have no idea why you want to do that, but it's awesome. And let's figure it out. So
That's great. I can also imagine that like some of them are like now all their friends, like the popular kids, are going to them being like, hey, can you like fix my Instagram account and make make my stuff look good? What are some of the upcoming programs you've got going on? I mean, you know, now that you mentioned a little bit about it, but is there any programs you want to maybe share?
Yeah, so one is our newest initiative. It's Cameras for Careers. So a little bit of what we're getting into with our other programming is we kind of were realizing like some of these students that are going into learning photography in their junior or senior years of high school and wanting to get AP credit don't have the proper cameras to be able to do that. Also, a lot of students that are going into college for photography maybe have like an old Canon Rebel or something from forever ago, and it's not going to live up to the type of pictures that they're really going to want and need to take to start to build their careers going into college, or even just graduating high school and wanting to start their careers. So we want to be able to help to facilitate that and give them a semi-professional or even a professional camera that they can work with. So we're starting to take in donations, we're starting to take in funding that would be specifically dedicated to helping get cameras in the hands of young emerging photographers, so they can really start to build their career in higher learning education.
That's awesome. And again, you can go to illuminateatl.com and you can make as many donations as you like there. Do you take physical donations in addition to financial?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So we're taking on a page on there under, if you go to the donation link and you go to cameras for careers, there is a entire list of cameras that we're currently accepting and lenses
Hmm.
that we're accepting for specifically this program. So of course, if you want to donate something else, let us know. We're more than happy to check it out and take it. But we're really looking for those higher end cameras to be able to help those students start their careers.
Oh, that's awesome. Now, let me ask you all, when it comes to fundraising, have things changed for you?
It's been kind of up in the air. I think Kahiah, you can speak to that. Yeah, go for it.
Yes, definitely so, because of course, we've had camera drives and we have our Patreon and we have, of course, our Amazon Smile and charity list. But with the pandemic and having to fundraise through this type of global pandemic, you said it was what, sorry, it's we've had to maneuver a lot of different ways to figure out what it's going to be best to get the funds that we need to keep on having our reach out there and being able to be successful in it. So, of course, we have our cameras for careers, which is a wonderful initiative that's going to help us start just get some of those things. And we even take, monetary donations for that. If you, let's say you don't have the correct camera or the right camera that's on the list and you have a rebel and you're like, I don't want to give that. I'll just give you money. It's like, thank you so much. We would gladly take that
Hmm.
because it's going to be put to great use. Um, we've been trying to figure out, of course, how do we fundraise to get cameras for our organizations that we work with so that we can leave them there. So
Right.
our work in the beginning was collecting cameras. And then, of course, we're taking the same cameras to all the programs. And sometimes we're having overlapping programs and we're calling each other like, I need a bag of cameras. Okay, meet me here to grab them. Are they charged? It was always like, oh my God, it's crazy. So
Right.
the biggest things we definitely are looking to expand upon so that we can leave those cameras there and that those organizations then have access to those things even when we're not around so that
Hmm.
they can keep on furthering our mission and theirs to just keep on illuminating Atlanta.
Oh,
And then
that's great.
once we implement that, we're able to take on essentially becoming teaching artists in a sense. Some other organizations that we've done that with is like where we're going in and we're teaching the teachers how to do this type of programming. So even though we're not able to be there, of course we love being there and we love doing that. But it's like in the times that we aren't able to, here's
Hmm.
like lesson plans that you can do and you can teach with your students when we're not around and we're not available. So far, we've had some really, really amazing support from KEH. They're a local company here in Atlanta, and they donated a whole slew, like a whole pack of Canon Rebel DSLR cameras that we've been able to
Whoa,
use.
that's
And that
amazing.
has been awesome. And that has made our programming so much easier. So rather than having all these mismatched cameras that we had before, it's just like everyone press this button and it's way simpler.
Yeah.
Shoot
Have you
Proof has
reached out?
been amazing and they've been incredibly supportive of us
Hmm.
as well. So we've got some really great corporate partners that are also helping to feed the mission on that end. Yeah.
That's wonderful. I wonder if like Canon like has like a the Rebel refurbished club or something where they can send you like the return products that are totally good.
That would be awesome. Hey,
Well,
Canon,
they're a
if
big
you're
listener
watching,
to the show, so maybe
just
Canon,
well,
Canon, we're looking at you.
we're looking at you.
So where does most of your funding come from then? Corporate sponsorship like that, or from individual donors?
Mostly as corporate sponsorship.
Oh,
So,
that's great.
yeah, so these organizations that also have a really big passion for photography are luckily like seeing what we're doing and are really also very passionate and want to be able to fund it and be a part of that opportunity. We do have individual donations, and those are really, really fantastic to help us with like smaller, like more costs that kind of come up at random moments
Mm-hmm.
because we'll have these maybe like larger chunks of money from corporate donations that we can plan out and say, okay, here's how we're going to spend it. But if something comes up and we say, oh, shoot, these 3 disposable cameras just broke, how do we replace these? All of a sudden, it's like, oh, have to have money allocated for that as well. So these smaller donations help us just to be able to run the programs that we're doing much more efficiently.
No, that's great. Have you done much with with your individual donors, any sorts of like galas or, you any sort of activations like that?
Oh, we did have a maybe not necessarily with like our individual donors, but we did have a show of was it Hirsch or was it Threshold, Kaya? Do you remember?
Threshold.
It was Threshold. Yeah, we had a show here with their students of the work that they created. So we kind of did that as a little bit of a fundraising initiative, but also just a chance for the students to be able to like see their work up in almost like a gallery
No,
environment,
that's
which is really
awesome.
cool. Yeah.
That's awesome. I'm gonna drop this photo. Did we talk about this yet? I don't remember if we talked about that.
Oh, I don't think so. Kaya, go for it. Yeah.
So we did a virtual workshop with House of Artists Foundation. They have a summer camp called Camp Artism, and so they have youth who are on the spectrum who are trying to learn different career paths. So the camp was great. We did a 2 day virtual. So the first day I taught photography like 101, and we really customized it to all of the key points that they wanted to learn. So Allison and I did that together. And then the second day I think I taught Lightroom CC, and I think a little bit of Photoshop for them. But they're all about career development and finding different paths throughout Metro Atlanta that their students can take. So it was just an awesome time being there. And I wish they could have been in person, but it worked out very well virtually. They all had their cameras, and we had to actually bring cameras to them, and they are located in Austell. So I drove all our cameras up there, dropped them off, put the mask on, and said, "All right, this is all that you have. Everything's in the bag." Went back the next day. I'm like, "Okay, I'm teaching. They all have the cameras. Everything's working." Then next week went back to pick the cameras up, and it was great.
That's awesome. That's great. I love the fact that you're doing that, and so it's just so great for the community. So, is there anything else you all want to share before we close things up here?
Not that I can think of. I think it's just the majority of the work that we're doing. Well, we miss our kids. Probably more than that than anything. Oh my God. We miss you all dearly. Hope to see you guys really, really, really soon, virtually or in person. And we're just really excited about everything that we're going to start to be able to build as we go forward. Like things like, yeah, Kahiah and Allison were doing with Camp Artism was just huge, to where things that we never thought that we would ever do. Like if you'd come up to us last year and said, "Do you want to do virtual learning?" We would have been like, "Oh my gosh, we have no idea what that looks like. We have no idea how that's even supposed to work." But I mean, just being able to figure it out and have the essentially just like, okay, we really just want to do this work and we want to continue this work. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, that's awesome.
I was going to say it's been
Go
very
ahead.
important for us to just keep on pushing as much as we can to make everything accessible. Like it's going to be beautiful at the end. Like even Allison this past week started teaching a virtual class with Threshold, and they did party kits where they made all these kits for their students with everything they need, and then sent them off, and then they just keep them online and they have everything they need in a box. So it's just I can't wait to keep going, but I really do miss our kids. Like
Yeah.
Too.
kind of torture. But now we're in the fall, and I'm like, okay, I'm not gonna see my kids.
And you all mentioned Threshold a couple times. Threshold's the one that actually recommended you all for the show, so thank them for that. And I'm glad to hear that they're doing well. I was curious how the schooling is going now that they've are into the fall semester, so we'll have to check back in with them. We close every episode by asking our guests to pick our next guest, and I'm curious, do you all have a guest that you'd like to recommend for Coffee Connections?
Cool Girls, Cool Girls Inc. They have been some of like the coolest, as they are, organization. One of the organizations that we've worked with for the last couple of years now. Absolutely love them. They're doing amazing work here in Atlanta. And Kahiah, you've built curriculums for them. So if you want to talk about who they are and the type of work that they do.
Oh yes, so they teach young girls in the Metro Atlanta area, and it first started off kind of like East Decatur is where they first started, and I hope I'm saying that correctly because I don't remember fully. No, I'm kidding, but they're amazing. They do so much for their girls. They have after school programs. They have shopping days. They do so many things. Fitness. They're doing virtual fitness classes for them on Instagram Live, while they're going through the pandemic. And so they have adapted and they have really always pushed their mission to reach as many girls as possible. And before the pandemic, they were located in the Boys and Girls, no, Big Brothers Big Sisters building off of, I think, like 14th Street in Midtown. And every Saturday, they would bus their kids there and do programs and curriculums and college prep. So we love cool girls, and we've worked with their middle school girls. We've worked with their conferences that they've had. And we were supposed to do their conference this year, but it sadly got canceled due to COVID. And we worked with the elementary kids as well. So we've been to a few of their schools, we've been to their location, and they're just amazing.
Now, this is the organization, if I heard correctly, that doesn't just do like makeup with the girls, but like encourages the girls to do things like, I don't know, build a rocket.
Yes, oh my gosh. So they had a Beautiful Me conference like about 2 years ago. Allison and I went, and we did cyanotypes with them. So we taught them scientifically, what cyanotypes were used for. We all went outside. The girls picked up flowers, leaves, all this good stuff, and we made cyanotypes. They processed them. They had a great time, but they also learned how to code that day. So they just learned so many different things in the tech field, in the arts, college.
Yeah.
They do a lot, but they also do have fun. They do.
But it sounds empowering. It sounds like a very empowering organization. I look forward to talking with. So,
It
Sarah, if you don't mind doing a connection after this over an email, that'd be great. Ladies, thank you so much for your time. Folks, please go to Illuminate Atlanta, ATL. That's illuminateatl.com right there on the bottom of the screen, and check them out. Coming up next week, I'm very excited to share with you all Tuesday, September 22nd, Atlanta Community Food Bank. Their president and CEO, Kyle, is going to be joining us and talking. Obviously with the pandemic, there's just so much to talk about in regards to food and how you can help our community. And gosh, they're doing such amazing work. So keeping it in the fam there, ATL, we appreciate you tuning in. Ladies, once again, thank you. Have a great rest of your week. Stay dry and enjoy the cool weather.
Thank you. We so appreciate it.